Captains of Industry, brought to you by Airtel.
Suresh Khanna has earned his stripes in the accounting field. He's been chairman of the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, and so he's played a crucial oversight role. He's also a long-distance walker whose missions to Everest have been used as a guidance, finding a guidance from nature and mentoring young Africans. Suresh Khanna is our Captain of Industry tonight. Thanks so much for your time. Obviously, before the break, we were talking about the relationship between accounting standards, corruption, and just oversight of corporates the world over. There's another issue that's come to the fore, and in South Africa it's a very specific one. It's transformation now. PwC is obviously one of the big four accounting firms, and there are calls that even within this sector we need to see greater transformation. Do you think that this is a sector that should be subject to those kinds of very rigid social issues?
Yes, and I clearly think so. And and transformation is a journey. Our profession has got its own charter, which is referred to as the CA Charter, and we've progressed very, very well over the years in that regard. It's still a long journey. I mean, so we have to do quite a lot of work still in that area. But if I just take it where I had come in the year that I joined the firm, I was the first person of color at a professional level that was employed in 1976, and today we have over 2,000 people of color that are professionals within PwC. So I think we've made a long transition, but a long way still to go, because I suppose imbalances that occurred over 40 or 50 years, you cannot undo in such a short space of time. So I think it's quite fine. I think we've got the charter, we're working hard at it, and but transformation is a long-term process, and we really working
why
hard
I'm asking you this question in the way in which I've just done. Does this industry need it? Is that generally the world over you're told that there's a shortage of financial minds? Accounting or accountancy is such a highly specialized field, whether you're black or white, Asian, whatever the case may be, and that we just need to be churning out these accountants from our universities, irrespective of gender or color. So it's just really an element of just focusing on the industry. But when we start to add these layers of make sure that they're black, make sure that they're female, quotas, does it not take away from the urgent need just to have the skill?
I think South Africa has done well in terms of developing CAs, and I think we should continue doing that. I think it does make it a difficult balancing act to do that, but I think it's very, very important for the future of this country that we do have representation across all sectors of our community, that there's enough accountants. I mean, there's a tremendous shortage, without a doubt. At the same time, I think you have, you can't just churn them out to use that word, because commerce is global, and you have to be, it's complex. People have to go through that training, so it doesn't matter who the person is. It does take time, and I think over the years, I think it's been a good journey, but still a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay. We are told that, there's a huge deficit when it comes to black accountants, but even more so when it comes to women. Why do you think that is? Do you think girls are not good when it comes to maths?
No, in fact, it's completely the other way around. If I had to judge our recruitment at the moment, 56% are women. And in fact, even we're very proud of our women, because even when you're looking at the exams that are coming out every year, we're seeing a very high proportion of that 56% we're employing qualifying. I think one has to take into account what is happening in terms of social norms, and you have to be, as an employer, you have to be receptive and understanding of social needs and family issues, and how to support women. And I think that's what's going to keep people into the profession. Or else is we wouldn't be doing South Africa good service, neither our society good service, is if we train a lot of women and all they go and leave work at the workplace because it's not accommodating enough to raise families. So I think we've got to be real about that and be very, very innovative in how we do things in that area.
As well.
Flexible.
Your love for walking, where does that come from?
I used to be a runner at university, and then over time I just started walking. I started enjoying it a lot more, and also it just gives, running is kind of a very tense effort all the time, whereas walking is a lot more. You can start thinking, and and that's where I do a lot of my thinking and strategic thinking is when I'm walking, because I'm so just it's fresh air and close to nature, so I think that's
But
good.
you do walk competitively, if that's the right word to use, because you participate in marathon walks.
Yes. I started that, and I've done many of those. And the extreme was I walked 10 marathons in 10 days across India in honor of Mahatma Gandhi. That did the Salt March in 1931. So yes, I do that, and then I've also. But it's also what I've evolved to now is developing young people and taking them to Everest.
We'll talk about that in a second. It's the whole question of what the walking does for you, because as you're saying, it connects you with nature, you breathe the fresh air, but it's something to walk something like 400 kilometers. Not the average person does that. You can walk 2 kilometers, 3, 4, not 400 kilometers at a go. Why that kind of initiative?
Well,
because it's strenuous.
Yeah, I think it's something about courage, determination, because it does test the mind all the time. And I think to be a leader in today's world, you have to test your mind and stretch your imagination all the time, and stretch your courage as well. And I think those are the things it does for me. That at the end of it, when you achieve it and get through it, you actually do have a sense of achievement. But that's kind of just to sort of test yourself, that you can hold up against pressure, you can hold up against very, very difficult and challenging circumstances in the marketplace.
I mean, you said you've done it in honor of Mahatma Gandhi, and we all celebrate him in South Africa also for being the person who taught us about passive resistance. Is this the connection to your walking in India, or is there something else?
I did the walk in India. It is, I'm from the same community that Mahatma Gandhi comes from, so I think it's what I've been brought up with in my family. So there's a high degree of respect for him as an individual and as a leader. So I think it's that kind of alignment that you have, that he's somebody that's very respected, and he walked, and he did a lot of things whilst doing walking and just mobilizing people and support and getting people mentally strong and all of those things. So I think it's all aligned. So it sounds like walking is something simple, but there's a lot more that you get out of it in terms of mental strength.
Okay, and so from India you then move further into Nepal. Everybody tells us about the beauty of the Himalayas, but for you, why is it particularly special?
Well, it's one of these things also that it's about balance in one's life between professional work and inner balance as well, and physical strength and all of those things. So it's the balance between those things, and I find that in the Himalayas. It's great, and at the same time I don't do it for myself. I encourage very young people, adults, to go with me. The youngest person that I've taken was 12 years old, and then I do this every second year. I kind of sacrifice 2.5 weeks of my annual leave and take them across there, and again to just teach them different things.
Such as what? You've already kind of said walking is character building, but for a young person, why would it be helpful?
Well, it would be character building even more than what it is at my age for them. We've had instances where children didn't walk around the block before, and all of a sudden are walking across those very, very high terrains. And it's about high altitude, so there's deprivation of oxygen and all of those kind of things. So walking 8-9 hours a day, with a lunch break in between. So it does call for a lot of discipline. It does call for a lot of courage. Teamwork, and those are kind of principles you can apply universally in your life thereafter. And I think those are the strongest points that come out of that kind of development.
And the demographic, the kinds of young people that you target, is there any specific?
I haven't targeted any person. It's by word of mouth. Whoever wants to come are free to join me, as long as they can afford to pay their way. And that's it. But I would they have to spend 4 months with me training before that, because it's not light things. So I've got to understand each one of those children, and in that sense, when they're with me for that 2.5 weeks on the mountain, I'm their mum, I'm their dad, I'm their nanny and everything for them.
That's
So,
even more character building, I
yeah.
think, for you, because
Yeah.
you need a lot of patience. And I'm sorry to kind of ghettoize you, but there's just a sense that men are not very patient when it comes to children, let alone other people's children.
No, I do very, very well with children. I think I really enjoy young children. I do a lot for them. I'm passionate about development. I think that's one of the things that I really, from my very young days, I've been very, very passionate about development. So, if I hadn't become an accountant, I would have been a social worker.
Oh, wow, wonderful. And I think the greatest inspiration for you, who's inspired you the most, and what are those pearls of wisdom that you carry with you forever?
My mum's is my greatest inspiration. She's not anymore, but she was not educated, illiterate in that sense, but very, very wise. And simple things. If I had to translate it, she would say things like, do whatever you do, but do it as best as you can. And some things, make your passion your profession, whatever it is. Make your passion that profession. And I think those are the kind of things that really, really seep deep. And whatever I do, that's the passion I do things with.
All right, thanks so much for being with us, Suresh Khanna. He's the CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers South Africa, drawing inspiration from his mother and passing on some of those nuggets of wisdom to a younger generation through those walks that they take every second year to Everest. He's been our captain of industry tonight. Thanks so much for your time.